Get ready to be inspired by the Unstoppable Marines podcast. Meet Marines Garcia-Lambert, a true force of resilience with a story that defies the odds. Join her as she dives deep into conversations with experts and trailblazers in health, mental health, and personal growth. Discover stories of triumph, tools for transformation, and motivation to unleash your own unstoppable spirit. Subscribe now and never miss an episode of Unstoppable Marines, the podcast that proves no challenge is too great. Available wherever you listen to podcasts.
Thank you, Leniz, for being on the show. Thank you for being here tonight in Unstoppable Marines.
Thank you for having me, Marines. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. So tonight, we are going to be talking a little bit about mental health and how she deal with it. Also, how she pushed through it, through adversities, difficult times, and she has pushed herself to be the best version and the first generation of your family, right? To make it through college.
Correct.
So tell us a little bit about you, to those that don't know you.
Well, my name is Leniz. I am the first generation to graduate from Cambridge with a master in mental health with a concentration on trauma and addiction. The way that I chose this journey was my environment played a huge factor. I come from an immigrant background. My father's Mexican and my mom's Puerto Rican. And the drive to be something different than my social peers in my neighborhood was the driven where I got today. I became really successful in my career based on battling battles on a daily day, obstacles that I face being the first generation. Obviously, my family don't have a background in education, doesn't have any background of anything with mental health, a stigma. As a Hispanic community, we don't believe that mental health is such a thing. We just pray on it and it will go away. But with my journey, I learned a lot about mental health. I enjoyed my career. And with my success also comes trial and tribulations. Obviously, I go through things and people think that just because I'm successful, I don't go through things. And I do. I'm human. And at the end of the day, I have trials and tribulations just like everyone else. There's days that, it's hard for me to even face the day to day. But, I stay prayed up. I believe in God. I believe of God's miracles. And I am an example of it, especially with everything I went through growing up in the most toxic and violent environment in New Haven.
Yeah, and you see that a lot today.
Everywhere. Yeah, everywhere.
So tell us a little bit about how you did from, graduating from Cambridge all the way until now.
So my journey started, I will never forget this. My father worked 3 jobs as an undocumented, and my mom struggling to find job through it. Growing up, we had tough times. There were days that we didn't have food. I would eat crackers and ketchups sometimes at night. The lights would get cut off and we would have no heat. And I remember one day my dad and my mom was crying on the point in the bed, and that broke me. And I said, so if they struggle, their struggle has to mean something to me because I don't want my parents' tears to mean nothing. So from that day on, I stopped hanging out on the streets because the streets were nothing good. In the environment that I grew up, we've seen a lot of toxic substance abuse, mental health on the streets, dead bodies. For me, that was a regular thing to see a dead body overdose or someone that owed money to drug dealers, and what happens with that. For me, that was the norm, and that's really sickened as a child. I think that's the norm. I made it my mission to be something. Even though I didn't know what I wanted to be, I just didn't want to work at a factory, which is nothing wrong with that. I wanted to be an example that my dad and my mom's tears were not going to go on face.
So you basically wanted it to be the best that you could be. I will know that nothing is wrong with working in a factory. It's not. But you wanted it to go a level up.
I wanted to make my parents proud. That was my goal. I didn't want my parents to think that their sacrifice was not in vain. So I made it my goal to be the best at everything. when I was in high school and I wanted to apply for college, the counselor in school said I was not going to be nobody. Obviously, because in school, I was a thug, running around doing things that I wasn't supposed to. And when I really wanted to get that chance to go to college, nobody helped me. So when I graduated high school, I didn't have a path. I still had the desire to be somebody. I just didn't know how to be somebody. Uh, but I didn't want to sell drugs and continue doing the lifestyle that I was doing, which wasn't leading to nothing.
Would you file a
Yeah, you got to defend yourself in your haven. If you don't, if you don't stand on something, they're gonna walk all over you. So there was a lot of things that I regret. Um, but you have to go through it to be the woman I am today.
Yeah,
That's the honest truth.
it makes who you are, but it doesn't define you. No. So that's important to know. And how did you manage when you face depression or anxiety in your life?
So I I didn't suffer from depression, anxiety when I was going through my stuff. I had a death when my daughter passed away in 2020. That's when I really hit rock bottom. When I went through college, God blessed me with people that were my mentors, and I was able to graduate with a 3.89 GPA from Cambridge. And this is a whole new story how I got to Cambridge, but that could be for another episode.
So
But my depression, I never had depression or anxiety, but it hit when I lost my daughter in 2020. Um, when I had to do normal, when I had to bury it.
yeah. And that's pretty normal. And we define, right, that when you lost somebody, when you're losing something, right, you go through that stage of depression. But there's always, we don't put a number to it. But instead of, let's say, 6 months, you're still not getting better. A year, you're still not getting better. Um, we suggest that you look, for help in your town, for you to get the help that you need to get better, right?
Yeah.
And you always could move forward,
Yeah.
despite what we face through. Yeah, the mindset that says the difference.
I think the grief for everyone is different.
Yes.
It's when you lose a daughter, you never get over it. I'm gonna be honest. You just gotta learn how to live day by day. Everybody that knows me knows I'm always smiling, but what goes behind closed doors only happens between me and God. I had to get over that depression after I had a miscarriage after that, and then I had to bury my ex, and I lost my whole family in less than 3 years. It just kept getting worse and worse. And what got me going was my faith to God. I was angry at him in the beginning, but I don't know why he did that, but I kept praying up and reading the Bible, and that's what I continue doing today. But when you lose somebody and you lose your whole family, you don't get over that.
Yeah.
Never. But you learn how to live with that pain, and maybe someone else can have to deal with that pain.
Yeah. And keep pushing and moving forward. Yeah. So today, tell us what are you doing today?
So I was granted 2 years ago to open a behavioral clinic. So I built the first behavioral clinic for a company that I will not mention now. From the ground up. That was one of the breaking points of being a Latina in New Haven as a Hispanic females. I opened a behavioral health clinic. I did the policies. I did the marketing. I supervised clinicians. I had APRNs, so I went from 2 staff to 4 staff, and then I oversee another program, which it was more intense for mental health. This is my field, which I love. And because of my skills of being a clinician, then I moved up to a clinical coordinator and a director. I was able to understand and learn a lot of skills behind the scenes. And, building a clinic from the ground up has been a challenging, but also a learning curveball, if we might say that.
Mm-hmm.
So
There's always little obstacles on the road, but it's the mindset that makes the difference when you're facing those obstacles. And this is why we bring these kind of topics to the audience, because not because you are a professional doesn't mean that never gonna face depression or anxiety or other mental, issues that are currently out there, right? But these are depression and anxiety is one of the uh, basic ones, I would say, right? But it's what we do and the kind of help and the kind of support that we get that marks that difference. So if you are struggling with mental health issues, please look for help. There's plenty of services out there in the community for you to look for help because mental health matters. Um,
I think it's also learning that mental is real. I know that in different cultures, mental health is not seen as a realistic thing. But there's always signs. If you're depressed, you're always in bed, down, not in the mood. When you're having a panic attack, you're breathing. All those things can be taken care of by reaching out and asking for help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. I think the perception that people got as therapists is that we have it all under control. We know everything and we know how to manage every little bullshit. And 1% of that is true, but the other percent is that another thing we're human. And I always tell my clinicians, you get a therapist for yourself because after listening to too many problems a day, yourself also needs to debrief on that. So it's always good to seek help, even just if you want to talk about something. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, yeah. And if you find yourself that the therapist that you get is not a match with you, you have the right to even change that person.
Correct.
Until you find the right one for you and for your needs.
Therapy should be an environmental safe. You want to go and meet your therapist, you want to talk about it. Also be mindful that things don't change overnight. You can't go to a therapist one day and say you're cured. That takes steps and dedication for you to go to your therapist. Be honest about the process. There are going to be days you don't like the process and going to be days you love the process. It's just finding the right therapist for you.
Mm-hmm. Growing is painful, but worth it.
Yes, correct.
Yes. So I just want to advise, anybody that had been thinking about having their dreams and goals or feel that life is kicking you down, is putting you down. I said, don't give up. Keep fighting for those dreams and those goals. And it will happen eventually. You just can't give up. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on your dreams and just continue. And it doesn't matter, what your history is in life
No,
or if your parents went to school or not.
yeah, it doesn't. I think it's just the dedication and the drive that you have. Also, who you surround with will also define your drive. If you surround with people that are not motivated and not driven to success, you're going to pick up the mindset and go that lane. But if you surround yourself with people that are happy and go-getters, you're going to have that drive towards something bad. What I learned growing up is the people that I surrounded myself play a huge factor of where I'm at today. I do not let people come in my circle and disturb my peace because I love my peace. If I see that the individual is not healthy for myself, I dissociate from them. I back away. There's no need for me to be disrespectful. I just know what I want in my circle. I work really hard to get to this place, a foundation of peace, and it's only up to me to keep that peace. If I allow people to come in and destroy that peace, and that was on me to allow that to happen. And because we see behaviors, we know what we want.
Yes. And it's important that we have those boundaries.
Correct.
Right? And if you say, well, I'm not there, I don't have any boundaries. When you meet with your counselor, they teach you how to have those boundaries, right? And it little by little, you keep developing those until you are happy with what you have in your life or in your circle.
Correct.
Yeah. So I think that's really important. And some people don't even have that support from the family,
That's the sad part, yes.
and that's something that we see. But in the community, with your therapist, they also have ways for you to get some connections. So that way you are not, in isolation.
Yeah.
And you get that support, because it's true. Sometimes we don't have the support from families, or they don't have families, depending on the situation.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Or that trust is not even there.
I agree with that. Right? The family part, it's tough for a lot of people that don't have the family to understand but need to reach out. I think dealing within on themselves is sometimes overwhelming. But there's always support system, you just gotta reach out and ask for it.
Yeah.
A silent mouth doesn't get help.
Yeah. And again, I talk from my own personal experience. Like I said, I was born with cerebral palsy. I still, went to school, got a job because that's what I wanted it to do. That was my drive, right? I have 2 kids. I took care of them, but some other people are more restricted in their mobilities. And I get that. It is okay to ask for help, right? If we can do it, there are times and there are situations where I ask for help and I said I need help. But if I could do it on my own, definitely I do it. And there's a lot of help in the community for you to get the help if you want to go to school, or if you want to get a different job because you're not happy where you are. It's okay. It is okay for you to say, I'm switching careers, right? And be happy with what you choose.
I think what people gotta understand is that fear that you implement on yourself and the limitation is what keeps you in that cave. And think is when you just keep going, even when things are not happening, just keep going. Yes, that's my mentality. When I went to school, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even know how to fill out.
But technology is so advanced. It is so
I
advanced.
didn't even know how to fill up a form to even get financial help for school.
And they help you with that as well.
I didn't know what I was doing, but I know that I wanted to go to school and I wanted to be somebody, but I didn't know the process. And look at me now. Like, yeah, everything you just got to push, and there's always got to be someone there in your journey to help you out. Even when you think they're not, you'd be surprised how it works.
Career advisors as well. You could maybe give them an idea of where do you want to go? How do you see yourself in 1 year, in 5 years, or for the rest of your life, right? So if you give them what you're looking for, they are trained and qualified to get you where you want to go. You just don't give up, and like I said, if you find yourself lacking motivation, then look for a therapist, look for help. There's plenty of help in the community for you to get what you need and to be happy with what you choose in life, right? You start from the bottom, but you could get up. Does it cost? Yes. Does it take time and dedication?
Yes.
Yes. But you will get there. So just don't give up.
Best advice is just, keep going. That's my motto. Anyone that I mentor, even when I'm on my board meetings, I talk about just keep going. And as cheesy as that sounds, the hardest part to keep going is when you're really down. When you're really down, that's when you really got to fight that mental health, that mentality, that mindset that this is it. It'll get better.
Yes.
I'm an example of, when then things got really hard. The best thing for me was to lock myself in my room, but that wasn't going to fix anything. That wasn't going to bring me happiness.
But the thing is that at times, for a period of time, it is okay.
It is
okay to not cry. Yeah, it is okay to cry. It is okay to break down if you need to. It is okay to take that time for yourself.
I think
What is important is that you don't stay.
Yeah, the stigma that we have is that we don't want people to see us in pain, but it is okay to go to pain.
Yeah.
It is what you do with that pain that defines you. Do you turn it to success or do you turn it to your worst nightmare? It's up to the individual. Yeah. But it is okay to cry. It is okay to not be okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's the time frame that is not okay.
That's the healing process, you know. As long as you don't stay there for a long period of time, and even when everything stops and you find yourself like, wow, it has been, I don't know, this is an example, guys, 5 years, and I'm still like not moving. I'm depressed. I'm anxious. I'm not doing anything for myself. I don't have a goal in life. Like, and again, this is just an example, but there are people that have been there, you know, because everything stops. So I want to be a bring of awareness that if this is happening, or not quite that amount of time, but it's been a long time, look for help. I cannot stretch it enough. Look for help. There's more to life. There's more to life.
Yes. Get one life. It's up to you to make it happen.
Yes.
Yeah, I take that.
I believe it. I believe it.
Period. Me too. I try. I said, I life. I'm going to make it count. Yeah, it's the last thing I do. And not everything goes my way. Not everything goes as I wish. But I wake up every day and I make it count because it may be my last day. So I make every moment of my day count. Whether it's helping the homeless people, feeding them, whether it's being a mentor for the community, whether it's being on the board and talking about mental and substance abuse to the board members, or whether it's going to church and hitting some Jesus, or preaching about church. I make my days count.
Yes, I think it's important. However you identify that support, right? You just gotta run with that and make the best of it.
Correct.
Right? It's not gonna be roses all the time, but you could still make it.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you're gonna be happy that you at least try. You know, given the fact that I was born with cerebral palsy, right? And as a young child, I was using braces like Forrest Gump, you know. And I remember going to school and there were kids that would make fun of me. There were kids that didn't. I was very blessed to have a lot of good friends until this day. But I kept pushing through that, right? Because if I didn't, then I wouldn't be where I am today, right? So I would like to be an example for others.
And I think you are. And be honest,
Right? Yes. I think I love to help people. I love to be um, an example or motivation because sometimes we don't even have that, right? And I understand what is to live with a struggle. I understand what is to live with a physical limitation or with pain, right? Growing up, it wasn't as much, but now growing, older, you face the pains here and there, right?
are you telling me? I know. So things day all day.
Right? Yes. But I still, and the weather could also play us a big impact for many of us, right? So, but I still find a way to say, I got to go out there. I got to get to work. And again, if I need help, I will ask help. But whatever I could do, meaning going into the gym and working out, or just calling a friend and say, hey, I'm struggling, I'm feeling a little down, or I'm feeling a little depressed, or I'm feeling a little anxious, you do that because that will help you keep going.
Correct.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. In this era where everything is exposed, I'm very glad that a lot of people are exposing mental health.
Yes.
Because it is a serious thing.
It is.
And it doesn't matter your gender, your age, your religion,
It does not
your
discriminate.
ethnicity. Nothing. It doesn't. It doesn't discriminate. So, and there's plenty of agencies with different backgrounds.
The beautiful about therapy is that there's so many branches. Yeah, so many roots to it. There's art therapy, there's talk therapy. There's so many therapies that the person could find their inch in it. It's just not talking, going to the office and laying down. There's so many out there. And, it's just to the individual to want to go out there and discover and see what is out there that will help them. Yeah, there's help out there. You just got to ask for it.
Exactly. And what is the message that you would like to deliver for our audience tonight?
To be honest, as cheesy as this may sound, reach out. Life is going to give you obstacles, whether you're ready or not, unfortunately, whether you're rich or not. And those obstacles are going to come in like a tornado and disturb your life, disturb your peace. And it is okay to be upset at that moment, but reach out when you need help. It is not okay to sit on that pain, but it is okay to reach out and get help for that pain. The stuff that happens in life unexpectedly is what defines your character and defines your developing and the growth in your life. But it doesn't define and destroy who you are. It's just based on what you do with it. Reach out. That's my motto. I always tell that to the youth. Reach out for help. It is not shameful to ask for help. It is not, embarrassing. It is something that will change and help your life in the most amazing way. You'd be surprised. So keep going.
Yes. Well, thank you, Leniz, for sharing. You shared with us very personal details about you, and I admire that. And I'm glad you didn't give up. I'm glad you keep pushing, and I'm glad you keep doing the best you can day by day. So this is what we want. We want people to keep going. Don't give up. Ask for help, and
Want to say hi to my
live your life the best
Yes.
way you believe day by day, right? This always gonna be something to look forward to, right? So, thank you so much.
And thank you for sharing. Thank you for having me. I appreciate that. And I want to say hi to my parents, the biggest motivation, and to my siblings, and to my sister, Gigi. Love her.
Yes, that's nothing better than that.
Yes, they're my bias.
Yes,
Best drive to success.
yes. Thank you.